Shalom, holy initiates and holy adepts. This video is going to be a little advanced towards the end of this presentation, but it primarily deals with a very ancient holy occult symbol and seal, namely the all-seeing eye. And this symbol and seal is usually associated with Luciferians and high-level Satanists, but actually. What is not understood by the Goyim and many Christians is that, in fact, many seals and symbols that the Luciferians have taken for themselves, okay, are actually very holy and divine seals and symbols that actually belong to us, holy Israelite saints. Highly initiated holy saints, right? These are seals and symbols that are really within the domain of the kingdom of Elohim and the holy mysteries. We need to understand that Lucifer is a thief and he is a copycat. He models his image and his kingdom after the higher divine orders. And as such, he may be seen by some as a thief, as it is the scriptures explicitly state that he is a thief. So we need to understand this. So, unfortunately, many Christians are just very ignorant. They're not initiated into the holy mysteries, first of all, let alone initiated into the Luciferian mysteries. So they don't know much of this. They don't know that many of the seals and symbols that are associated with Lucifer are actually divine seals and symbols, very secret seals and symbols that are within the domain of the holy mysteries. And some of these seals and symbols are so holy, so divine, and so powerful, like the hexagram. In fact, I have a video that which deals with the correct diagram of the Sephiroth that actually has a section within it that actually gives proofs, explanations, and the correct understanding of the hexagram in a very brief manner. In my first treatise, I have a chapter devoted to revealing the true essence of the hexagram and why it is a very holy, powerful, divine symbol that is within the domain of the holy kingdom of Elohim and does not at all belong to Lucifer. And so this is very important to understand. And then there are other very pure Luciferian seals that, you could say belong to Lucifer, but it should also be understood that these seals and symbols encode and encrypt, very esoteric holy mysteries, right? I have another video, I can't remember the name of it, where I briefly break down the Baphomet seal, which, yes, is a pure Luciferian symbol, but despite that, it does encode and encrypt many holy mysteries. We have to understand that Lucifer is the twin spiritual brother of Mashiach, meaning these two Elohim are very, some of the highest Elohim, right? They are all the way at the bottom of the divine hierarchy, but in context, from our perspective and vantage point, even though they're all the way at the bottom of the divine hierarchy, with respect to the Goyim and all of humanity, from our vantage point, these two Elohim are like the highest Elohim, right? Because we have to understand that most of the Goyim, most of humanity, has no knowledge or comprehension of the higher Elohim above Lucifer and Mashiach. Okay, so to them, they are like the highest Elohim. Okay, but to us, holy initiates and adepts, we understand that Lucifer and Meshach, as powerful and as mighty Elohim as they are, quintessentially at the bottom of the divine hierarchy, so to speak. So again, it's very momentous to understand that many powerful and holy seals and symbols that are found, within Luciferianism or that pertain to Lucifer, actually don't in reality pertain to him, don't really belong to him, even though they may be associated with him. Okay, although there are a few symbols and seals within Luciferianism that do belong to Lucifer and are Luciferian in nature, as the Baphomet seal, but these seals and symbols represent, and I mean, these seals and symbols encode and encrypt, certain holy mysteries. So again, I just want to emphasize this because it's very, very momentous to understand. And as a master Kabbalist, who has a zero tolerance for ignorance, I'm extraordinarily annoyed, at having to, see and deal with the stupidity and the ignorance of just so many Christians in this generation. So now we proceed in discussing one of the most ancient manifestations and symbols of the all-seeing eye, which is known as the Hamsha. Now, in Arabic, it's known as the Hamsa, and usually it's referred to in its Arabic form, which is Hamsa, which is Arabic for the number 5. But in ancient Aramaic, the number 5 is Hamsha. So here's just one of many examples of the similarity between the Arabic and ancient Chaldaic languages, since they're like sister languages. Okay, and again, this is a very ancient holy divine seal and symbol, and here we can see that you have the all-seeing eye superimposed within a pyramid, superimposed, or not superimposed, but within a hand. Okay, so now I'll go and start to break this ancient seal and symbol down, which I don't think is understood by the vast majority of humanity and the Goyim. Okay, so this is a very Kabbalistic symbol and seal, and essentially, quintessentially, it represents the Holy Divine Virgin, our Heavenly Mother. Okay. According to the esoteric Kabbalah, we initiates should know that this symbol indeed represents Shekhinah, who is the archetypal Holy Divine Virgin, who is our Heavenly Mother. And this is just a very basic fact within the Holy Mysteries for those that are initiated. Now, the Hebrew word for eye is ayin. Okay, now ayin has 7 meanings. As I'm always stating in all of my videos, I'm constantly repeating this. Every Hebrew word, every aspect of the Hebrew language has 7 aspects to it, or 7 levels to it. Okay, again, this word is no exception. Ayin is actually how you spell out the Hebrew letter ayin. So on its first primary literal meaning, it represents the Hebrew letter ayin. Okay, which is the first letter of this Hebrew word. And another meaning, as I just stated, it also signifies an eye. But another meaning as well is it also signifies a fountain. Okay, now this is very important to understand, because if you have been initiated into the Holy Mysteries and you have read and mastered our esoteric Kabbalistic texts, like a principal one, which is Sefer HaZohar, then you know without a shadow of a doubt that this word, fountain, is a code word for our Heavenly Mother, Shekhinah. Okay? Now, also to note is that the Tetragrammaton, right, which is the holiest name above all other names, esoterically represents the Sferoth, or the essence of the Godhead. Now, I have other videos that I've done that explain this in more detail, but if you've seen them, then you should know that the letter He, which is a feminine letter, a feminine marker in the Hebrew language, represents the female hypostases within the Godhead. Okay? As such, the second He within the Tetragrammaton represents Shekhinah, our Heavenly Mother. Okay? And this letter, guess what, happens to have a gematria or numerical value of 5. So I'm hoping that now you may begin to start to make the connections here, right? The Hebrew word ayin, which means eye, also signifies fountain, which is associated and mystically equated with the number 5, or the letter He in Hebrew. These are all code words. These are all esoteric symbols, occult symbols referring to and representing Shekhinah, our Heavenly Mother. So now let us speak a little more on this occult symbol of the eye, or the fountain, right? We read in Shir HaShirim, the Song of Psalms, in chapter 4, verse 12, it states, "A closed garden is my sister, the bride, a locked garden, a sealed fountain." Now, as holy initiates and holy adepts, we should know that Shir HaShirim is considered one of the most advanced and esoteric Kabbalistic songs and texts of the entire Bible. And it is essentially a very esoteric Kabbalistic manual and treatise dealing with some of the most highest, occult holy mysteries between our Heavenly Father and our Heavenly Mother. And so here again, as an initiate, as an adept, you should readily and easily understand and comprehend that this verse is explicitly referring to Shekhinah, our Heavenly Mother, who is a closed garden, also known as the sister within the Godhead, who is the bride, not the Christian church, okay? This is not like the stupid, ignorant, uninitiated, and uneducated Christians who like to equate the bride with the church, okay? And I have a video that deals with this most ignorant error, okay? She's a locked garden, a sealed fountain. These are all code words. And this verse gives us all of the code words, occult words, dealing and representing our Heavenly Mother, who is Shekhinah. Now, commenting on this verse in Sefer Tikkun HaZohar in Tikkun number 20 and 21 in folio 68a, it explicitly tells us that this verse is referring holistically to Shekhinah, our Heavenly Mother. Okay? We also read in Tikkun number 19 in folio 38a, it's, writing upon lower Shekhinah, it states, concerning her, it is said, and then it makes reference to this verse. So here you have another folio in Tikkun HaZohar that is equating Shekhinah with this verse. Okay? Again, all initiates and adepts know this. It's very basic knowledge. Okay? And it states, certainly sealed, because she is a virgin and not a known woman. Now, there are many telistic levels to this commentary, right? And one of my most favorite ones is that it states in the text, the book highlights the latter part of the sentence, which states, and not a known woman. The emphasis is put on this part of the verse. Now, this is a very holy mystery that deals with the vast and prevalent ignorance of our Heavenly Mother, who is Shekhinah, right? Yes, on one level, she represents the archetypal holy divine virgin, but on another telistic level, as such, she's not a known woman, meaning, on a much more recondite telistic level, that practically all of humanity is ignorant of her, doesn't know who she is, has no relationship with her, right? It is us, children of Israel, sons of Elohim, who are part of the true elect, like myself, okay, who have a very powerful, close relationship with her and know her very well, and are truly called sons of Elohim, sons of her, really, because she gave birth to me. She gave birth to us, Israelites, not to any other goyim or nations. This is what makes us Israelites superior to all other goyim and nations. And not only is she unknown to the rest of the goyim of the world are ignorant of her existence, of her nature, of her essence, have no conception of her. But we also find the same matter with even our own people, the Israelites, because many Israelites, which are mostly Christians and Jews, again, have no conception of her, do not know her, do not have a close relationship with her, etc. Okay, now the ancient Jews, of course, for the most part, did know who she was and had a relationship with her. She was very well known amongst ancient Jews because Shekhinah was a very exoteric word and construct to the ancient Jews. But now in modern Judaism, she has been forgotten, and most Jews don't even know who Shekhinah is. Okay. And then when we speak with when we talk of the other 10 tribes of Israel, which for the most part are Christians who are Beit Ephraim, we're talking 99% of Christians who have no conception, no idea of who Shekhinah is, have no relationship with the divine feminine and our Heavenly Mother, etc. It's a very, very sad matter indeed. And this is exactly what the Kabbalists know and what are stating here. She's not a known woman. She's not really known only to those who are holy initiates and holy adepts like myself, and hopefully some of you who are listening. But let us continue. Now we'll focus on the mathematical structure known as the pyramid, which contains 3 sides and points, and really, Kabbalistically, esoterically, it represents really the divine Trinity. Okay, on a much lower level, it actually represents the 3 Elohim that are next to her or besides her. Okay, now we read in Sefer HaZohar in a very esoteric section called "The Secrets of HaTorah" in Book 1, Folio 152a, commenting on Sefer Bereshith, chapter 29, verse 2, which states, "He looked, and behold, a well in the field, and lo, there were 3 flocks of sheep lying by it." Now, of course, as initiates and adepts, we know that the entire Holy Scriptures, the ancient Hebrew Holy Scriptures, are nothing more than an encoded and encrypted text. And it is only once you become initiated into the holy mysteries that you can begin to penetrate and unlock and decrypt and uncode many of these esoteric layers to the ancient Holy Scriptures and what they're really truly talking about. Okay? So here in this secret section called Secrets of HaTorah, the Kabbalists here are going to comment and explain the much more recondite, deeper levels of this verse here. Okay? Now, it states 3 flocks of sheep, 3 holy supernal decrees arrayed over that well, which are Netzach, Hod, and Yesod of the universe. They draw water from above and fill the well because that spring, Yesod of the universe, dwells within that well. Now, this is my English translation of the underlying Aramaic text. And so here, the Kabbalists are telling us that these 3 flocks of sheep are code words, that they represent telestically the 3 emanations right above Malchut, which are Netzach, Hod, and Yesod. Now, we know that Yesod represents the divine archetypal phallus, and we should know that Shekhinah represents the divine archetypal pudendum. Okay? This is why, she is represented by the words fountain, garden, a locked garden or a sealed fountain, right? Anyone who has seen a young beautiful naked woman and has engaged in conjugal union with a young beautiful woman will know why the female pudendum is referred to as a garden and a fountain. Hopefully I don't have to go into explicit detail why the word garden and fountain or spring or well are all words alluding to the female pudendum. Okay, this is why in many modern languages these are also euphemisms for the female pudendum. Okay, so again, we know that Yesod represents the archetypal divine phallus, and that Shekhinah represents the archetypal divine pudendum. This is why the commentary here states that Yesod, who is the phallus, dwells within her, who is the divine pudendum. Okay, and it is Yesod who is channeling this water or this divine flux, which represents the archetypal divine semen or sperm, being channeled into the divine pudendum, which is the well or Shekhinah. Okay, and so Shekhinah, the waters, these living waters that are contained within the well or Shekhinah, represent her divine seed or sperm. Okay, now we need to understand here, as I've stated in other videos, that when we speak of the Divine Trinity, there are many levels and grades to the Divine Trinity. I recently did a video called the Divine Hierarchy Part 2, where I go into detail in revealing and explaining the most highest, most esoteric level, really the highest archetype of the Divine Trinity. Okay, most Christians, lamentably, only know of one of the lowest forms and levels of the Divine Trinity, and even that they don't have a full understanding of, which is really sad. But essentially, there are many types, orders, and levels of the Holy Trinity. Okay, And the essence and the secret of this verse is that it is referring to a very low level of the Trinity. Now, according to the Zohar's commentary on the verse, they equate the three flocks of sheep with a mid-tier or mid-level form of the Trinity, which is Chod, Netzach, and Yesod. Okay. However, while that that may be, while I would say I would consider that a satisfactory interpretation of the verse, because flocks don't water wells, wells water flocks. So the holy mystery there in that commentary of the Zohar isn't really fully and correctly explaining the holy mystery at hand. It is really introducing the holy mystery, but not fully explaining it and revealing it. This is why you have to have a grandmaster Kabbalist like myself that can fully explain to you and reveal the full essence of the commentary and the holy mystery. Really, the verse is really speaking explicitly, very directly, on the three lower Elohim below Shekhinah. Again, this is something that isn't really known to many Kabbalists, because they're not fully initiated. They're partially initiated, but not fully initiated. There are three lower Elohim right below Shekhinah, which represent a divine image of a higher Trinity. In this case, being Chod, Netzach, and Yesod. So these three lower Elohim that are right below Shekhinah, which are represented by the three flocks of sheep, are actually lower images of Chod, Netzach, and Yesod. So there's three separate Elohim or entities that are apart from Chod, Netzach, and Yesod. Okay? And of course, the great mystery here is that it is these flocks that are being watered by Shekhinah, not the other way around. Okay? And so I will conclude by stating that the very well-known image of the all-seeing eye on a pyramid, as is seen on a US $1 bill, actually encodes and encrypts very, very esoteric holy mysteries that I will not cover in this video because they are very advanced and esoteric, and so they might be covered in another video, but they are definitely revealed and spoken of in an upcoming treatise that I'm in the process of publishing. So I will just add that that the seal contained on the US dollar bill with the pyramid with the 13 steps actually encrypts and encodes some very esoteric Kabbalistic holy mysteries. Something that really isn't known by practically all Jewish Kabbalists, and even I would say practically all Luciferians don't even know the holy mysteries that seal actually encodes and encrypts. They know some of the lower secrets that are Luciferian in nature, but the most esoteric and deepest levels of holy mysteries that seal encodes and encrypts, they're not known at all by practically over 99% of Luciferians, quite honestly. Why? Because that seal is divine in origin. And that's really all I can say for now. But hopefully you learned a lot in this presentation, and hopefully you were educated to some very momentous truths. Shalom, amen.